Welcome to the latest edition of Book Time with Elvis. In today's video, I'm going to do the newbie tag that was kindly recommended to me by Linda Booklady. I will link to her channel below. And I took the newbie tag from Brenda C's Booktube channel, which of course I will also link below. So there are several questions that I should answer. By the way, I should say, of course, my name is Mark. I did mention that before in an earlier introductory video, but I suppose I should get into the habit maybe of saying it more than once. I've also mentioned before that I'm an English teacher, and I've been living for the past 9 years in a small town in the Czech Republic, and I really enjoy it here. It's a really nice place. The only negative that I feel at the moment actually is looking at all of your wonderful and interesting channels is that we all seem to have very large and extensive libraries. I did have a rather large collection of books myself, unfortunately back in the UK. However, I think it was, when was it, in September, my parents, who I left all my stuff with, moved house. They downsized, and as of course I hadn't, the books had basically been left there for the past 8 or 9 years. They asked me if they wouldn't mind getting rid of some of them. So, as painful as it was, I had to have a massive cull of books. Of course, most of them found their way into various charity shops, which of course is a good thing, really. I suppose as they weren't here with me, they weren't serving a practical purpose. They did save quite a few of them, and over time they started sending them to me by boxes. However, there are still more in storage back in the UK, but I have to wait now, I think, until some of the issues related to Brexit have been cleared up, so I can have them shipped out here without having to pay any kind of duty or tax, because shipping them will be expensive enough without having to pay anything extra on top of it. So certainly I have bookcase and library envy from much of you, but perhaps in time I can rebuild my collection. I like a very eclectic mix of books. I don't know how many of them you can actually see behind me, but there are from all sorts of different subjects. So most of the books I will probably review for now will be in an electronic format, because given my situation, it's much easier to carry them around and to have them here on the Kindle or on the tablet. So anyway, let's dive right in. So the first question: why did you start this channel? Well, it's something I always thought about. The situation that's arisen at the moment has given me the time to be able to do it. Last March, when we went through the first lockdown here in the Czech Republic, I started podcasting, and I really enjoyed that. And it was a bit of a mishmash of different topics. I didn't have any real focus. I do plan to go back to that soon. I've got a few more ideas, but I thought I'd give this booktubing a go. So we went into another strong lockdown starting last week. So again, I've got more time on my hands, and I started looking at a few channels on YouTube, and I came across some really fun and interesting ones. I must say, I think it's a really lovely community. I'm really excited to be part of it, and I hope to take part in some of these buddy reads and group reads and things like that. It sounds very exciting. Already I've had a few discussions on little messages on the comment section between a few people who seem to have similar interests to myself. So basically it's a combination of wanting to talk about books, because many people here do read, of course, but we would probably read in different languages. They would read in Czech, I read in English, and there are not too many people around me who would read maybe the same kind of books that I do, especially as most of my students are school children Unfortunately, not too many of them read, and if they do read, they tend to lie about it and say that they don't, which is a shame. So it's a combination of having the time and the desire to want to discuss books and things to do with books and reading that I thought I will give this a go. Nothing to lose, right, and everything to gain. So, I'm not bothered about. Obviously, it would be nice to have a few subscribers, of course, but I'm not too bothered about it. It's more of a hobby for me, and it'd just be nice to meet some like-minded people. Number 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Well, I hope my style's easygoing, so I hope that in itself will be a bit fun, and it won't be too boring to listen to. I think also that I've been quite lucky in my life to be able to travel a lot. I mean, I am British by birth, but I've only spent 12 of my 40 years in Britain. Most of my life's been abroad, so I've had exposure to many cultures, and through that, different types of literature and reading and writing. So it's given me really wide taste in books, and I hope I will be able to bring a few, new books and things to the discussion that maybe some of you haven't heard of before, and that would be great, because I think it's wonderful if we can exchange, knowledge and recommendations and these kind of things. Why do you love reading? I love reading because I think, maybe it's cliched, but I think it's a way of kind of opening up the world. You get to experience different lives, if you like, or different points of view, or different cultures. You can go traveling, for example, without having to leave home. You can travel back in time, you can travel back into the future, you can go into space, you can delve into other people's wildest imaginations, and I think that's just wonderful. I couldn't imagine a world without books and a world without being able to read. I think, I love music as well, but I think if I had to trade off, I would probably lose the music over the ability to read books. So I absolutely love it. It's just something, there's something magical about it. I'm sorry if that sounds, kind of a standard answer, but that's really how I feel. What book or series got you into reading? That's question number 5. Well, I can't remember. I mean, there were a few books when I was a child, obviously, that stick with me. I remember being a small kid, and there were obviously some picture books and things that my parents would read to me. I was also quite lucky. For example, I remember, they would read to me every night, and even when my father went on business trips, he would actually record onto cassette the stories and books and stuff that we would have read if he was at home. So that was a really nice thing. Particular books, well, certainly a particular author. I would say Roald Dahl had a huge impact on my interest in reading. I was extremely lucky. My parents, my grandmother, they would always say, they might deny me perhaps, the latest Lego or the latest G.I. Joe or something like that. But they always said they would never deny me books. So I used to love picking up the old Osborne books, maybe they are now, that would show you, inside the human body or the Roman Empire or something like that. They were fascinating. Another book that got me, I would say, into reading was, and it still remains probably to this day, my all-time favourite book, which is Treasure Island. I had a friend of my mother's, her husband, used to read Treasure Island to me every time we visited them, and we would sit and talk about it, and then we'd watch the old 1950 Disney film with, is it Bobby Driscoll, is it? Or I can't remember, but certainly Robert Newton as Long John Silver, fantastic. And so that book definitely played a big part in my love of reading. And I think what happened really is when my parents would, stop reading, and I wanted them to continue, I would get frustrated. So it was a case of being able to, if I could read, I could continue the story on my own without having to wait for someone to read it to me. And certainly the first book I ever read, I remember this very well, read in one sitting. I was probably about 9. Proper book. 9 years old. Was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I remember staying up till probably, it must have been about 2 o'clock in the morning, finishing that off. And it was, I remember to this day, doing that. And it was, fantastic. But never read all of them, though. I couldn't get into some of the other ones, but Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe certainly stays with me. Next question. Number 6. What questions would you ask your favourite booktuber? I've got a few already, definitely. As I said before, it's a wonderful community. If I ask anybody questions, it would be related probably to what I think is the theme or focus of the channel they've got. Yeah. So recently I sent a message to Bill Ruttenberg, I think, at Ruttenberg's library, and Revenant Reads as well, asking them about recommendations on American history and the Civil War, the American Civil War, because I love history as well, but I'm very, very ignorant of that particular subject. I've studied, of course, the English Civil War, which certainly doesn't get anything like the amount of airtime as the American one. But of course, it's fighting for very different values. But I'd like to learn more about these things, so I ask people questions if they can recommend a particular starting point in this era or historical situation. And then probably I would ask some questions maybe about how things work here, because I am very new. As I said earlier, Linda Booklady was kind enough to recommend that I do this newbie tag, and then I see there are all sorts of tags, and I don't really have much of an idea how they work. So probably I'll be asking people from time to time for some advice and recommendations. So that's the kind of thing that I would ask. Lastly, number 7, what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Honestly, for me, so far the hardest challenge was doing the first video, and once I did it, I made a few mistakes, of course. I completely forgot to introduce myself in the first one. I'm still making that kind of mistake, but I think making that first video is the hardest challenge, because I've had this, energetic buzz in me since I did it, and I can't wait to do the next one and the next one and the next one. I don't want to saturate my channel straight away with all these new things, but I'm bursting with ideas and things to talk about. I really can't wait to get going, really. I would say at the moment that's been the hardest thing for me to overcome, was just getting started. Obviously being very nervous. I don't have any idea how people will react, how kind people might be. Luckily, so far they've been really nice, and it's been a wonderful experience. And as I say, I feel just really excited. I'm at the start of this, and I'm really looking forward to being kind of a good member of this community. So those are my newbie tag answers. I hope they've been of interest to you, and you'll keep in touch with me through the channel, and I look forward certainly to hearing from more of you. And basically I wish you a good evening, because it's it's evening here at the moment, so I'll probably be heading off to bed in a bit, though hasn't worked out well since I've started doing this, as I find myself binge watching other people's channels, and it's quite addictive. It really is. So yeah, there we go. But thank you very much for taking the time to watch me, and I look forward as I say, very much to meeting more of you and reading with some of you and all that kind of stuff. So stay safe and healthy and see you soon. All the best. Thanks. Bye.